All athletes strive to be like Michael Jordan and Tom Brady. They want a legacy of nothing but championships and major accomplishments. Well, some guys like David Tyree will only be remembered for one big play, while some other athletes have legendary careers, but that one meltdown at the worst possible time overshadowed their greatness. I'm Justin Fraction, and today we present the top 10 most heartbreaking losses that ended a star player's legacy. And a big shout out to Brock Parker for suggesting this list. We hope you enjoy. Brock Parker, that's a pretty tough name. Bet you could chew a steel beam with your teeth, just rip it off a building and just tear it in half. Brock Parker. Thanks for suggesting this list. We appreciate it. Alex saw it down in the comment section and wrote a whole video on it. So what you guys can do is go down to the comment section yourselves, leave your ideas, and you never know, we might do a video based upon it and give you a shout out. That's what we do here. Tony Romo's botched snap. Tony Romo may hold most Dallas Cowboys passing records, but he'll never be thought of as highly as Roger Staubach or Troy Aikman. While those two stars led the boys to multiple Super Bowl championships, Romo never came through when it mattered most. His very first playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks in the 2006 NFC wildcard round will forever overshadow a solid career.
Dramatica, Romo holds, 19-yard field goal attempt. Oh, it is fumbled by Romo, and then Romo's going to run to the end zone, and he's going to get tackled by Jordan.
You know what happens when you fumble a game-winning field goal snap? Tony Romo, you just made the list. Roberto Luongo's Stanley Cup meltdown. It's safe to say that Roberto Luongo will be in the Hockey Hall of Fame someday. He's top 5 all-time in wins and has a pair of Olympic gold medals. But despite a dominant tenure with the Vancouver Canucks, Luongo's career will be overshadowed by an awful showing in the 2011 Stanley Cup Final when his team needed him the most.
And getting a piece of that was Luongo on the try from Craig to score! Lost it, poked away by Marchand, dances to the outside, takes his own pass. Marchand along in front, score! Sagan got there, fed it ahead, Ryder walks it into the zone. Here's Ryder shooting, he scores!
And in Game 7, yikes.
Zone faceoff is won by the Bruins, twirling to the outside is Marchand, some weaving in front of Luongo, and a feed in front, they score! Around, reaching Luongo, but a wraparound attempt by Marchand, he scores! Kareems to Bergeron, who moves in, Bergeron protects, and down to the ice he goes, the puck wound up going into the net, it's 3-0.
Luongo could no longer handle the criticism in Vancouver and was traded 3 years later. Had he won that Stanley Cup, his legacy would be so much different. Ernest Byner's fumble. Ernest Byner won a Super Bowl championship with the Washington Redskins. On top of that, he was a 2-time Pro Bowler and finished with 8,261 career rushing yards and 56 touchdowns. But outside of Washington, Byner's career is remembered for all the wrong reasons. His Cleveland Browns were on the cusp of sending the 1987 AFC Championship to overtime against the Denver Broncos. But then...
football right here.
Draw to Byner. Ernest Byner.
Fumble
The ball, and Denver has recovered. Oh, my. Byner had the first and goal.
Sums up the Browns' history, doesn't it? Karl Malone in the 1998 NBA Finals. Instead of being looked at as arguably one of the top 10 or 15 greatest NBA players ever to live, folks only remember the mailman as the guy who couldn't win that one big one. Yes, Malone choked by missing 2 critical free throws in Game 1 of the 1997 NBA Finals. But Malone and the Utah Jazz got the chance at redemption in the 1998 Finals. Malone had the chance to force a 7th game, except...
Chicago, 17 seconds. 17 seconds from Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. Timeout, Utah. 5.
Michael Jordan sunk the Jazz and led the Bulls to their 6th championship. Malone would never come close to the big one again. He let it all slip away when it mattered most in Game 6. And now the Total Pro Sports Timeout video question. What other star players had their legacies ended by a heartbreaking loss? Let us know in the comment section down below. We'd love to read your answers. And back to the video. Greg Norman at the 1996 Masters. The Shark won 2 majors in his career, both Open championships. However, many can only think of Greg Norman as the guy who let a 1996 Masters green jacket get away. It was supposed to be the defining moment of his career, and it was, but for all the wrong reasons. Going into the final day at Augusta, Norman carried a 6-stroke lead over Nick Faldo. All we had to do was not screw up on like every hole.
10-hole, Norman bogey, 1 ahead.
I fancy the trim out.
Only Greg could make eagle. That was to be his last chance.
Not only did Norman choke away the Masters, Faldo won it by an overwhelming 5 strokes. Norman just couldn't win the big one, and that's his legacy. Unfortunate, but that's the cold hard truth. Tony Fernandez's World Series era. Tony Fernandez is one of the more underrated MLB stars of the 90s. He won a World Series championship with the Toronto Blue Jays in 1993, won 4 Gold Gloves, and was named to 5 All-Star games. Good thing Fernandez won that ring with the Blue Jays, because this error cost his Cleveland Indians in Game 7 of the '97 Fall Classic against the Florida Marlins.
Nagy Diaz. And Counsell punches it to the right side. Fernandez has it go through him. Bonilla will try for third. Ramirez up with it, but there's no...
Which led to...
Nagy Diaz. And Counsell punches it to the right side. Fernandez has it go through him. Bonilla will try for third. Ramirez up with it, but there's no play on him. Bonilla dives in.
Jackie Smith's costly drop. Long before Tony Gonzalez broke all the records, Jackie Smith was far and away the best tight end of all time. The 5-time Pro Bowler and Hall of Famer spent his first 15 years with the St. Louis Cardinals NFL team. Looking for a shot at a ring, Smith joined the Dallas Cowboys in 1978. Indeed, the Cowboys reached Super Bowl 13. Trailing by a touchdown in the third quarter, Staubach found Smith wide open in the end zone. No catch could have been easier.
Down and 3, Dallas at the Pittsburgh 10. Roger back to throw, has a man open in the end zone, caught, touchdown, dropped in the end zone. Jackie Smith all by himself. Oh, bless his heart, he's got to be the sickest man in America.
Smith's drop forced Dallas to take a field goal, and they wound up losing the game by 4 points. Sadly, the Hall of Famer's career is overshadowed by that one horrible drop that cost his team a championship. Charles Barkley, destined to lose. One of the hands-down most dominant players ever, Charles Barkley led the Phoenix Suns to the 1993 NBA Finals. Barkley won the MVP award that year and was trying to help Phoenix end Chicago's chance at a three-peat. Barkley said it was destiny for the Suns to win the NBA championship, but a little-known player named John Paxson had a different idea.
Inside. They go to Grant. To Paxson. Paxson going for the win. Here's Paxson for 3. Yes! The Braves, the Bulls take a 1-point lead with 3.
Barkley failed on his promise and never won a championship because he talked big game. We can only laugh at him all these years later. He didn't show up when his team needed him the most. Zinedine Zidane, the Headbutt. One of the top soccer players of the 90s and early 2000s, Zinedine Zidane announced his plans to retire following the 2006 FIFA World Cup. Even though Zidane led France to the title 8 years earlier, his career and legacy will be overshadowed by this ugly incident. In extra time of the World Cup final, Zidane engaged in some trash talk with Italian star Marco Materazzi. Zidane couldn't control himself and let this happen.
This kind of give us a bit more of a clue. He said something. He certainly said something. Now what happens? He's saying some more. Well, the pictures tell the story.
Apparently, Materazzi began insulting Zidane's sister. Not cool, but Zidane received a red card and had to watch his team lose in penalty kicks. Bill Buckner's error. Many should remember Bill Buckner as a former All-Star and 1981 NL batting champion. He batted a stellar .289 for his career and finished with 2,715 career hits. But fans can only remember Buckner for the most infamous error in MLB history.
Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
You know the story. The Mets win the World Series. The Red Sox World Series drought doesn't end until 2004. Buckner's career has forever been overshadowed by that one mistake. What other star players had their legacies ended by a heartbreaking loss? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you're not subscribed yet, now's a great time to do so by clicking the subscribe button down below. If you have any ideas for cool videos, let us know in the comment section. You never know, we might do them and give you a shout out. And last but not least, we'll see you next time for more cool videos every single day on Total Pro Sports.